Welcome everybody for another session with our Freedom Podcast. Me and Alan again here today, and today we just kind of gonna go with the Q&A session, me and Alan, and then we're gonna talk about the remedy have been fulfilled and the linkage of it with Daniel chapter 8 to 9, right? And the connection with Josephus the historian and the wars of Jews and all this stuff. So we're going to continue from probably from the exile, and then how they came back, and then how they the kingdom seized, like and then Herodes took over the power and became a king. So let's continue on that one now.
All right. So you were asking me, how does the
how is that happen?
Yeah. Well, so the house of David, it was terminated in the Babylonian exile. So it came to the two sons of Josiah, King Josiah, his son Jehoiakim, and another son, I forget his name now, sorry, and I can't read the text to find. But he was the king that Babylon, Jehoiakim was taken into captivity.
Yeah.
He's an evil king, right? And that's why he was conquered and taken into captivity. His brother was made king.
The 70 years exile.
Yeah, that's began the 70 years exile that Jeremiah prophesied would accomplish. And that's when Daniel was taken too, by the way. The prophet Daniel was taken captive along with Jehoiakim. All the aristocrats and the top scholars and stuff like that, they were all taken to Babylon and sort of like re-educated in Babylon.
Yeah, well,
with Babylonian, science and everything, because it was the premier nation of that time in science and everything else, and knowledge and wisdom and all this. So they take the Hebrews captive. Daniel was just a child at that time.
Yeah.
So that's when the book of Daniel begins. Zedekiah takes over the throne, but he rebels against Babylon, and so Nebuchadnezzar has to come and dethrone him. So that's when, at the time of Jeremiah as well. And out of that, Jeremiah is saved. The Babylonians let him go. And then Daniel gets these visions later on. But as far as the kingly line goes, Zedekiah's line of the Davidic branch, because he's directly related to David as well through Solomon.
Yeah.
So he's a legitimate heir, but his line is terminated because when he's taken to Babylon, his entire family, all his sons, were executed by the king Nebuchadnezzar, and he had his eyes plucked out. So he died in captivity.
The king that he was ruling Jerusalem, like the Jewish king.
Yeah,
before.
the Jewish king.
So he's been taken as a captive, and then his eyes been taken out by Nebuchadnezzar.
So that was the end of the Davidic line through him. But the other Davidic line, Jehoiakim, Jehoiakim, his bloodline still continues down through Zerubbabel and all those guys. So right down to Mary, the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
Right to her, and then she's the one whom the Holy Spirit came and conceived the Son of God in her. So she's the one that Isaiah spoke about, that a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and he'll be called God with us.
Yeah, Emmanuel.
So you're starting to show who he actually is, because back in the garden it doesn't tell you he's the Son of God. It doesn't tell you that. We have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So this Jehoiakim's descendants are the kingly line. They're the only legitimate heir to. You mean through the kingly line?
Through the kingly line of David.
Of David.
Yeah. So they're going back there.
That's through Solomon. He was the anointed king, right?
Yeah.
He had a brother, one of David's sons, Nathan.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a king. He's a prince. If something had happened to Solomon before Rehoboam, Solomon's son, took the throne. Nathan could have a claim on the throne then, but it went to Rehoboam, and so down to Jehoiakim, and then down to Mary, who's the mother of our Lord. So that's the Virgin Mary. She brings forth son that's Yeshua, which is Jehovah saves. So he's legitimate heir, right?
Yeah.
But what happens is when the exile returns to Jerusalem in the time of Ezra, they
returned by Cyrus the king.
Yeah, Cyrus
and
gives
then
the
he brought
decree.
them back, and then he built a temple with them. Helped them.
With Zerubbabel, and that's the time of Zechariah and those guys. So the temple is rebuilt.
And also, let me mention that one because that was in Iran, and then the language of the area was Aramaic. Daniel, book of Daniel, the only book of the Old Testament that's written in Aramaic language, right?
That's right, actually.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a FYI.
Yeah.
There's a lot of critics about the book of Daniel that it was written after the events because it follows, or history aligns with the prophecy of Daniel so closely. They reckon it was written at a later time, you know, perhaps centuries later.
Yeah. About this one, so lots of people, they're claiming, the book is written after the event. The book is written after the event. You know, the story of Adam and Eve came to Moses all the way by narration, yes? But when God gave the 10 Commandments and he wrote them, and then, Moses, he dropped the tablets because when he came down, people, they rebelled against God. So when he went back again 40 days, and then God told him, okay, bring the tablet and I'll write them down for you. Since then, everything started to be written by the people who do the events. Like even if you go to, the Jews really, they always had somebody to write the history. Always had somebody write it.
Scribes.
Always.
They were Israelites that were trained to
exactly. So
transpose the law and the writings of Moses.
Yes, everything. They learned that from the wisdom of God. Every event that's happened, to write it down. That's why nothing written after the events, like exactly the same time, is inaccurate. Yeah.
So, like you can take. That's a totally different topic. Let's just stick on.
No, I just wanted to mention that because everything is written
in 8 minutes now.
Everything written in time. But let's continue.
So, we want to get to the big bombshell. So Christ has the legitimate claim to the throne, right? But as we were explaining earlier, that's not what he was sent to do. He didn't come to take the throne. He came to fulfill what his mission was given to him in the garden, that the woman's seed will bruise the head of the serpent.
Yeah.
So his target was on becoming the sin offering for Israel, and not just Israel, but for all of humanity.
Yes.
That's actually what his goal was when he came to the world. It wasn't to take the throne. So I'll expand on that if I get a chance. But first, this kingly line. So what happened when the exiles came back, the prophecies of Samuel and Isaiah were about the fall of the house of David, and that God would reestablish it with as an eternal kingdom. So that's what they're expecting the Messiah to come and do. That I'll raise up, one of your sons, and his dominion will be eternal, will be from sea to sea, to the ends of the earth. And it will never pass away. It is a kingdom that will never end.
Yeah.
So that's what the visions of Daniel about. You see, the first vision he had of a statue, Nebuchadnezzar statue, represents all the empires that would come on earth. then God would, this rock would fall on the feet of the statue, and the statue would fall, and this rock would become a great mountain. Well, that's the messianic vision that the Israelite kingdom saw, that when Christ comes, the messianic kingdom is going to spread over all the world.
Yeah, it's going to become
right?
big.
It's going to be Israelite
Yeah.
under Christ. But what Christ came and did is he formed a spiritual
And that's the
house.
rock.
That's the real one, because
Yeah.
it's eternal,
Yes.
and it's the rock, and it has all those other empires have fallen and become dust, and the kingdom of God has what Christ, the church, is actually the one that's been growing and spreading over all the earth.
Yeah.
You know, exactly like it's prophesied in the book of Daniel. So we have this kingly line that's terminated at the Babylonian captivity.
The worldly kingdom.
No legitimate heir of David ascends the throne. To this day, there's no legitimate heir to the throne of David. Now, Jesus, at the time of Jesus, he is the legitimate heir that's spoken of, that God said he founded a spiritual and eternal kingdom first. You know, because the eternal, the spiritual is greater than the temporal.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what Christ founded on earth, taking us and putting us into the eternal house. So,
Yeah.
but Israel, in the natural, they come back out of their exile, and their hearts are pining for the glory days of David. They want to see the messianic promise fulfilled, and the house of David be restored in an earthly, temporal sense. That's what they're pining for, and that is legitimate. That's still a legitimate promise. Just because Christ came and founded the spiritual one doesn't mean the temporal one is being discarded. It hasn't been.
Yeah.
It's still going to be fulfilled. That's Christ's second coming. He's coming as king to take his throne on earth and to rule a temporal kingdom on earth. So that's the picture. But Israel comes back. They want the Davidic king to rise up. And what happens, Antiochus Epiphanes, that the temple there is restored, but not the throne. And Antiochus Epiphanes assaults the temple and the religion of Judaism, the first covenant, and he causes the sacrifice to stop. And he places the idol of Zeus.
So he, at that time, everything ceased the Judaism.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, you know, he imposed a shutdown of the Jewish religion
Rituals.
on Judah. And of course the Messianics saying, we're not having this. And out of one of these Messianics was a guy called Matthias. He was a Hasmonean. That's where we get the Hasmonean from, because that was their surname. You know, he was a son of Hasmonia. And, you know, grandfather or father, I'm not sure. But that's where the Hasmonean name comes. So he's a Hasmonean descent. And he and his sons rebel against Antiochus and conquer them. So that comes back under Israel. Judah comes back under Israeli control, under these priests who then are known as the Hasmonean or the Maccabees. And but they're priests, you see. So they then appoint them. The people are very happy with these guys. God's with you lot because you conquered Epiphanes, and so we want you to be the high priest and rule over us. You know. And so it was public support, and they, the sons of Maccabees, they still had to fight the Greeks for a while, but eventually they prevailed, and it was the end of the Seleucid invasion of Judea, and from that time they began to rule. And so, but one of their sons, I think it was the last son of Matthias, was I think it might have been Simon, or it could have been, yeah, I think it was Simon. His son, when he died, he was a good guy. He had the high priest. When he died, it came to a son who made himself king. And then so it's not a legitimate king. See, he's not from the Davidic line, but that's what set up the Hasmonean dynasty of kings. And then comes, at the end of this kind of, the end of the Seleucid and Ptolemaic control, they've been slowly overcome and displaced as rulers of the region by Rome. So that's where they came to an end. Rome is now fighting, got a fortress in Syria, stopping the expansion of the Seleucids. Put them back, they become the Parthians, what's called the Parthians. So Rome's stopping them from coming down into Palestine, and Rome's now aiming at the southern one, which is Ptolemy's. And right smack in the middle is still this kingdom of Judea, although it's not a kingdom again, because they have no king. They didn't have the Davidic king, they'd become a priestly kingdom. And so there's civil war going on there between the brothers who are descendants of these priests. It gets down to two brothers, one is Antigonus, and the younger one is Antigonus. He prevails over his older brother Hyrcanus. Hyrcanus is supposed to be the king because his father Alexandra was the king. When he died, his father died, his wife Alexandra took over as queen, and Hyrcanus was supposed to take the crown when she died, but the younger brother got, sort of argy-bargy, and he was more aggressive, I guess, and Hyrcanus surrendered to that, right, to try and keep the peace,
Yeah.
So this is about the time that Antipater comes in to the picture. Antipater is the father of Herod. So there's a civil war going on. Out of it comes Herod. He's the one who rises to the fore, and he ends the Hasmonean kingship ends, and Herod takes over, and he sets up another dynasty that ends with his son and the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. In the middle of all that, Christ is born. That's at the time when he comes, and the 70 weeks that measured from when Ezra came back from exile till Christ's crucifixion, that's where it's measured. That 70 weeks, 490 years, finishes in 30 AD. And so it's divided into 70 weeks, which are 7-year blocks, 70 of them. And it tells us that in the 70th week of those 70 weeks, the Messiah is slain to make a covenant. This tells us specifically, in the 1 week that's left, the Messiah is slain in the middle of that week. So if the 70 end in 33 AD, that 70 began in 26. So 30 AD is the middle of that 70th week. And that's the week that a lot of historians are now pinpointing that's the year Jesus was crucified at Passover. So it's pointing, all of it's been pointing to that Jesus is the seed. What he came to do was not take the throne of his father David, his earthly ancestor, through his mother.
God's plan,
but to rescue us from the power of death. Because when we die, it's sin that sends us into the grave, and our soul is held there until the judgment day. And the judgment day is not till the end of this world. So you're held in jail, so to speak, in darkness for thousands of years. If you're back at the time of Adam, you'd be held in there till the end. But thankfully, Christ came in the 4,000th millennium. In the 4th millennium, Jesus came and he rescued those who were still captive from Adam's time. When he atoned for their sin with his blood, death no longer had the authority to hold them prisoners waiting for the judgment. Death had to let them go. They were released. Where are those souls gone? They come into paradise.
That's right.
In the book of Revelation, that's the crystal sea that's before the throne of God. That looks like crystal. It's the saints, their souls, appear as there's so many of them, it looks like a crystal sea. And so from that time, from Christ's atonement, every disciple from that time on, they don't go into the grave anymore. They go directly, you know, like Monopoly. It's like Monopoly. You accept this one. You collect the 200. You go directly past jail and into paradise. You know? So that's what Christ did.
That's the story. That's how it's happened.
Yes.
Okay, I think we leave it up to here then. Probably in the next session we're going to build up more, or we see how we can explain that. Even though when you talk about history, you have to go there, and there are lots of things to explain to get the big picture, but with time that's almost impossible, you know. So thanks guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next session.
Okay.